Yeah, dog. Welcome to Wreck to Riches. My name's Thomas G. Do not forget to smash the like button. Headbutt it, make love to it, do whatever you got to do. Make sure you subscribe. Get the YouTube algorithm going by dropping a comment. And always remember, I am not a financial advisor and for damn sure not a professional. This is cryptocurrency. You could lose it all. So what's the word on the street? Word on the street. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter. I'll put a little description of how to get there on the video here in the first couple minutes for you to track me down on Twitter to catch any content I put on there like I did last night where I talked about. Now, it's not 100% certain, but the rumor started off. Documents came out that Richard Hart was finally served by the SEC. But you look at the dates, it goes back on October 31st. Like, homie was served on Halloween, right? If you look back, he started tweeting all kinds around that time. I think he knew he got served. He might have got served, and he just started going on a rant. Oh, we got to do this and that and fight for your rights, all that stuff. But apparently, from a legal standpoint, the laws of Finland, this and that, people are saying that he wasn't officially served. Whatever it may be, the SEC feels and thinks that they did serve him. And remember, he's a U.S. citizen, so I think the laws would still apply for a U.S. citizen no matter where you're at when it comes to the SEC. But I don't know. I'm not a financial advisor. I am not an attorney. I don't know anything about the law when it comes to being served in that manner. So, what happened? And it's crazy because it's really like a delayed reaction, but human beings just cannot resist being emotional. Huge sell-off on Pulse. Even though if he did in fact get served, the date served is Halloween. That's like a whole month ago. And people just started dumping because the uncertainty is there. Like I've been saying, like I've been talking about, it's there. It's there. The fear is in the streets. The on-chain fear on PulseChain is there. People don't know what's going to happen. They don't know, if he's going to settle with the SEC. We don't even know if the SEC is offering Richard a settlement. And I get a lot of comments where people are like, who cares what Richard's doing and don't cry, this and that. Ain't nobody crying here. I'm just showing you guys what I think and what I know and my point of view, which is everything that Richard does impacts the PulseChain price from PulseX to PulseChain all across the board. All the altcoins that live there, everything gets affected by everything he says and does and doesn't do. If he's evading the SEC, if he's running, from the law, whatever it may be, the price action is going to be based off of that. If he's just chilling, relaxing, and everything's all good, then, it'll do its thing, and the community will have its different moments of sentiment, but ultimately, he steers the wheel. And that sounds centralized to me. I mean, it's bad enough that the OA address owns as much Hex as it does, and as much Pulse and PulseX as it does, but when you got one man who so much as says one thing, doesn't say anything, or does what he's doing now, and see the impact it has on people's lives and portfolio, that's centralized. Because guess what? Is the SEC going to serve Satoshi Nakamoto? You know why they don't go after Bitcoin? You know why they gave up on Bitcoin and are just realize it's not a security? Because there's no one to serve. They don't have anybody to go after. Nobody knows who Satoshi is. I think Richard wanted to have that approach, but just like he said on the highest of stakes, they asked him why he's doing this. Because he wants to be loved. He couldn't do it the Satoshi Nakamoto way. He has to take credit. He has to feel loved. He has to know that if he puts in all this time and effort, that if he takes the people to the promised lands and gives us that 10,000x on Pulse or PulseX or even 1,000x, he got to feel the glory and bathe in it. And he couldn't just set it up that way. He tried to set it up that way by saying no expectations from the work of others, all this other stuff that's not going to fly in court. Because let me tell you something, guys. If no expectations of the work of others really was going to stand in court, You think he'd be avoiding the SEC? No. He'd be like, I ain't got nothing to worry about. That was a sacrifice. They willingly sent their money with no expectation of the work of others. Blah, blah, blah. But he knows. His lawyers have probably told him. But he hasn't said anything in days. I don't think he's tweeted today. It hasn't been since, December 7th? So maybe his attorneys are like, bro, you need to shut the you-know-what up. You need to stay quiet. He hasn't said anything. And then all of a sudden the news comes out. So I'm putting two and two together that, he's aware that people are going to find out, people are going to know. Probably has been served. It's really hard to put it together from a legal standpoint if he's really served or not. But you see the effect on the market. So when it's official, or people are like, yeah, he got served, then maybe it's going to have, it's going to double dip. Literally, no pun intended, double dip. A double dip, another dip. And I would expect there to be a lot of volatility at this point, which creates opportunity. I've taken advantage of all this opportunity. But at this stage, are we heading into a bull market anytime soon? If so, will we miss it? That's what concerns me. Now, if the bull market doesn't start until late 2024, early 2025, I feel like we have enough time on the clock to get this all sorted out. But the way people are talking, the Bitcoin halving coming up soon in the next, few months down the road, people are super bullish on Bitcoin and Ethereum and the overall market going up. They believe we're in the early stages of a bull market. Will the SEC impact us to the point of XRP where we missed the bull run? Will PulseChain miss this cycle, this bull run? Or is there still time on the clock and we don't have to worry? We don't know, but people are not responding like they're willing to risk it for the biscuit. They're heading over to Ethereum. They're going to other stuff. They're going back into Bitcoin. People are like, I'm out, man. And you see a lot of people that are hexagons, they call themselves, RH maxis. It's really unhealthy to be a maxi, by the way, because it's like you think Richard could do no wrong, and that ain't the way to think if you want to make money. You got to understand that human beings make mistakes. There is no perfect person in the entire universe. So you cannot sit there and be a maxi of somebody to this extent, because it's just going to get you wrecked. Mistakes happen. I'm sure if he could go back, he would probably have handled things differently. Who knows? Maybe he would do it all the same. But he has a direct impact on the price. Satoshi doesn't. It's truly decentralized Bitcoin. As old technology as it is, that's decentralization right there. There is no entity, no person to serve. But when you got Richard, it's a whole different story, a whole different ballgame. So for all the people to sacrifice out there, whether you had expectations or not, the end goal is to have success and to ride out the next bull market. So we are only left here to speculate what is going to happen from here. Because, I think the easy way to think would be, well, Richard, it's a drop in the bucket to pay the SEC a fine and move on. As I dig deeper, the question now is that even an offer on the table? Not everyone gets that deal. Not everyone gets that offer. And are you going to get that offer after acting in this fashion where the SEC has to chase you and has to use more American tax dollars to exhaust themselves in trying to find Richard Hart? Will that make them mad? Will they make an example of him? That's all in the air, and that's why the price of PulseChain is where it's at. And it doesn't seem to get any better until there's some resolution, and that's the bottom line, man. There's no way about it. I don't care if you're a maxi, you just know in the back of your head and you can see what's happening. Like, it's right there in your face, whether you want to believe it or not. And I think at this time, you got to do what's best for you. I'm doubling up my bags by trading in and out of these dips and buying back in at the bottoms and selling back and making more money, going back and forth from Ethereum to different plays and just staying active. I will not sit back and let my fate be in the hands of a man who is clearly evading the SEC and has no intentions of giving us any type of, feedback or saying anything. I don't feel like he feels obligated, but when you take $1 billion of people's money, there is some responsibility there. I don't care who says what. That's what I think. And I think for the greater good of every person out there that believed in him for all these years, that stick by him, that are RH Maxis, he owes it to them more than anybody. And they will shout at the top of the mountains, no expectations of the work of others. As they say that, in the back of their mind, they're going, man, devs, do something. Who wouldn't when you're that wrecked? Who wouldn't be thinking that? They're human. We know it. They don't want to admit it. They just want to continue to just be like a cult. You got to be a leader. All right? You cannot be a follower. And RH Maxis are followers. They are sheep. In this crypto game, you have to be a lion. And what do lions do when they get hurt? They lick their wounds. That's what we do when we get wrecked. We lick our wounds and we come back stronger because we're lions. But if you're going to be an RH Maxi and really think that he can do no wrong, you're a sheep. And it's sad. And I feel bad for you. Till next time, we'll do it again. Yeah, dog.